Ryan Rohrman, CEO of the Rohrman Auto Group. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
Awesome.
Welcome,
for having
Ryan.
me. I'm excited to join you guys. It'll be fun.
We're excited to have you. Respect the heck out of you and your auto group and what you do. And yet we share so many markets and we work side by side. And it is interesting. I don't know if there's anything you want to say in the very beginning before we ask you the question we ask everybody, which is how's biz? Like in automotive, we collaborate, we work together, and we compete. And sometimes we compete vigorously, but we're at our best when we become better as an industry in delivering our promises to customers. And we challenge each other to do that better, Ryan, right?
Yeah, and we need that. I think that there's an old school mentality that, you and I were talking about it, that the dealer down the road is your enemy. It couldn't be further from the truth, right? You get better together and you got to push. I mean, we need to innovate. We need technology, and your local dealers working together. This is how we move forward, We're very vocal about that. You guys are too. And I think it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. Good dealers make it better for everyone, and bad dealers make it bad for
everyone.
Amen.
Yeah. Right on. Yep.
I love all the stuff that you in particular are doing on social media right now. You're educating everybody on all things tech, which is pretty cool. We're going to get into that in just a second. But before we go there, Ryan, how's biz at the Rohrman Auto Group today?
Biz is good. It's, I feel like it's the year of new car growth. I mean, new cars are phenomenal. And like you mentioned in the news, I mean, service profitability is good, and parts are following it. Inside of our little ecosystem, we have an opportunity for used car growth still. But I would say of the really big silos, industry is great, and I don't foresee it slowing down. Like all the indicators that we're tracking, the KPIs that we're following, it looks like Q3 is going to end really well. And Q4, it's just going to keep going the direction we want it to go. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be a great end of the year. It feels like business is kind of getting back to some sense of normalcy after 4.5 years of oddities. So I'm excited for that too. But it's good right now.
So it's interesting. There's a big debate. You mentioned used cars, narrowing margins, price fluctuations. Where do you get that best car? How do you recon it? How do you get it to frontline best position for the customer?
Right.
The big debate that we've been having on the show for the past few weeks is days turn. Do you guys have a days turn policy? What's your days turn policy? What is it? And how do you treat used vehicles within the group?
Big time. So I would just say this, like innovation and technology lets us manage our business so well, and efficiencies, I think, are everything. And so we know from our own data that we start losing money on day 35. We just know that day 35, we're at a loss, whether you want to talk about holding costs or turn or whatever. So, our goal, we have a hard age rule, but our goal for turn is to be sub 28 days. We know that cars turn in less than 18 days. That's where all the profitability is at, so if we can't if a car doesn't turn faster than 18 days, like we're getting not concerned, but we know that the future is not looking bright in terms of profitability on that vehicle. So I think speed is everything inside of used cars right now. And like you just said it, it's time to lot, right? How fast can you get it through your recon? If you're buying it from the auction, how fast can you get it onto your lot? But sub 30 all day long. I think if you can be sub 25, you're going to be very profitable. So,
yeah. And you say you're looking at the data to get that. What data metric or data source are you best looking to get that information? Like, where are you seeing that most?
So we pull a lot of that right off of our composite, we have an internal 20 group that we do just for our stores. And so we can go right to our boarding costs, and you can see right when it starts to lose money. And oddly enough, it's the same for almost every store, multi-brands. It's right in that 34 to 37 days. Doesn't matter how good you are, we're losing money for some reason. And that's been pretty steady over the last few years, but it's right there at like 35 days. And and then if you start to go, and we use vAuto as our inventory management tool, it supports it. And we're careful with some of the auto data. I mean, it's a smokable figure, but what's on
it is.
the composite's not. We're pulling that from the DMS and from our financials. So, but they do agree with each other. So, like we believe that that's a pretty believable number, and we see it. So it's, if a car hits 30 days, it has to go. It's not a good asset for us anymore.
So that comment actually brings us to a post you recently made to LinkedIn, I think. So the beginning of the post said this. I'd love to get your feedback on it. It says, for too long, automotive marketing has been plagued by inefficiency, with much of our advertising budget wasted on outdated data. And then you talk a little bit about it in the post. Tell us a little bit about what you meant by inefficiency and advertising dollar spend being wasted on outdated data. Where is that outdated data?
So I'm really passionate about this. This has been like my journey for the last, I'd say 14 months at this point. So I'll try to make this as short as possible, and you guys can take this where you want to take it to.
Okay.
May 31st of last year, I signed an agreement with Telium to be our CDP provider. Now, at that time, I was educated on CDPs a little bit, but not all the other things that have to happen for them to work. And
but before you go into that, tell everybody, what is a CDP?
So the acronym is Customer Data Platform. And so basically it's a place where data is aggregated and activated. And so it's different than it's different than a data lake. They're not the same. It's where real-time data activation and integration is happening real time. So if someone's on my website and they partially fill a form out. Right now, if you don't have a mechanism in place, you have no idea. You can go to your ASC events and find out that you had a unique user, but you don't know where they left off in their journey. Like I have Marcom right now. Within 3 minutes, I can have something in that person's inbox saying, "Hey, Mr. Customer, looks like you left off on this service scheduler. Can we help you out as you finish this appointment request? Click here for a call," or they can click a link and it'll take them right back to where they left off.
Wow.
And we've seen, so that was one of our first audience types. So in CDP language, audience types, that's a buzzword. And that's just, you're building out this, this very micro audience of when this happens on our website or engagement happens, we want this piece of Marcom to go out. And that's what an audience type is. So like at any given time, instead of a CDP, I think right now we have 96 activations across our stores, and that's very small. Like could sound like a larger number, but they building out audience types in a multi-rooftop atmosphere or environment it takes time, because every audience type once you build it, you have to build the Marcom for that one audience type times how many rooftops you have. So one audience type, you need people that can just build out phenomenal digital advertising and marketing times 22 for me, times how many audience types you want to have. So get back to the original question, and we can go more into that if you want. But so I signed this contract. Telium's a great partner. They're a CDP, what I just described. But I realized like 2 or 3 weeks later that I need the data that I had in my DMS, which we're a Techion user, and it's not their fault, but it was really dirty data. And what I mean by that is a lot of it is coming from just bad input. So think of how you get DMS data. You get it from when you sell a car, new or used. You get it from your finance managers. You get it from your service advisors. So, we found out at the Rohrman Auto Group that we had a really common customer. They hit all our stores. It's noname@noname.com. I don't know if they buy.
I've seen them before.
Everyone has tested it. Yeah.
Everyone knows these people. So like that's an example. So in the past, when you use your database to market with, whether it's an email blast or a direct mail piece, you got to realize like unless you're filtering it and actually enriching, enhancing your data, which no one's doing that, you're sending out all your marketing to these email addresses and to these mailing addresses. And it doesn't stop there, because dirty data is also, when you get, like, I get mail still from the car I bought my wife in 2009. She's had many, many cars since then. And they still want me to service that car with them. And I haven't owned that car in 15 years. So they're paying for that Marcom though, like that. And you can be like, it's 40 cents. Well, or whatever. Right. But the reality is, once we we partnered with Experian. We took our entire database, and we realized only 48% of my data was actually good data.
Wait, so wait, when you did that though, so you got together with Experian, you're like, hey, I want you to look at all the data.
Yeah.
And then they came back and they said only 48% is accurate. How did they make that? That baffles my mind. How did they make that determination?
They know. I mean, because Experian's a data company. Like, when I first thought of Experian, I thought, well, it's one of the largest credit houses, in the world. And they are. And because of that, they have everyone's data. They know when you move. They know when you buy a car and your credits ran. They know everything. They know, and they know stuff faster than the manufacturers do. Sometimes the manufacturers, they're basing their stuff on from the local DMV or DB, or every state calls something different, right? And that's all 30 days in the rear.
How much did that cost you to get that assessment from them? That 40 some odd percent was.
We spent on 22 stores. It cost us right around $60,000.
Okay, for the assessment, right?
No, well, it was all
data.
encompassing. So
okay,
so what that dollar figure was for what came next. So they did that assessment. They said, hey, 48% of your data is good, meaning that is the right email, that is the right phone number, that is the right mailing address, and they still own that car. All right. So that is what we consider clean data. Those 4 high level
name, email, phone, and ownership.
And mailing address. Yep.
And mailing address.
And so 48% of our data had that, and it was accurate. But then they have the ability, and other companies can do this too. They can cleanse, enhance, and enrich. So that was the cleanse part. So then we enhanced and enriched it, which they can go and they can stitch. Just because the other 52% didn't meet those standards, it didn't mean they didn't meet them on every single one of those. So they were able, and we got, I think it was a little over 60% back. So of the 52%,
60% of that 52. Gotcha.
That's right. Yeah. And then, but here's the next part. So now I have this like perfect data file, right? And it had just shy of 2 million people in it. That's about how much we got back. Where do you put it?
Right.
DMSs won't take it back. You can't say, hey, Techion or Reynolds or whoever you're using, you can't say, hey, here's that clean files. Can you just go and put these on top of my bad files? They won't do it.
Okay. So I'm going to ask the question, why? Ryan, we put a man on the moon. We ought to be able to like this goes to the whole question of why doesn't data integrate from one to the next? There's no uniform data integration.
I'll tell you this, Sam, what I've learned in the last 14 months is how far behind automotive is in technology.
Yes.
I started going to some tech conventions that are non-automotive, and realizing that where we are today, we're 10 years in the rears of what other industries are doing. And it's little stuff like you just said, like, why doesn't our stuff talk? Why can't it push and just make the data cleaner?
So we've established that, and it is crazy. That's something that needs to change. It needs to change in automotive. Data needs to be better and interchangeable. There needs to be some sort of a data standard that everybody plays well together, because there's too many APIs, too many plugins, too much data, too much information. It's gotta be better.
Yeah.
But so you arrived at that point. Now you've got all this purified data. It's correct. You can work with it better. Then what do you do?
So now, yeah. So where do we put it? I mean, I have
Right.
this, we spent, it wasn't a ton of money, but, for as many stores as we have, but we still got to do something with it. So we found out that a true CDP doesn't hang on. It doesn't like to hang on to data, because a true CDP really only wants activated data, meaning the customer, that profile, it's people that are interacting with your tech stack. So it can sit in there, but it's going to fall off after, I think Telium's 18 months. So if that big file, and we went 7 years back, that big file, if all those people aren't actively engaging within an 18-month time frame, they're gone. Like it falls off. And but that's common in CDPs. So what we had to do, we found and partnered with Snowflake. So Snowflake is a data lake. Now, they're a cool company, very inexpensive, very secure, and what they're capable of doing with your data, literally endless. So they do have some dealers groups in there, but they're big. So I went to their convention in June this year, and it was as big, if not bigger, than the NADA convention. They used the same setup in San Francisco. If you guys remember, they had the two convention centers across the street from each other, full, packed, 18,000 people. CEO of ChatGTP was there as a keynote speaking. I mean, all the people from all over the world. It's a global event.
Wow.
And literally the ability to utilize your data in any way, like literally any way. So that's so huge. So we put all our clean data, we put it into our Snowflake instance.
So just so I can understand this, because I have tried, I'm working on this. So you pull the data out, you purify it, it sits in this CDP for 18 months, it falls out as it becomes not actively engaged. So now you put it in a data lake.
Yeah.
And what's a good way to think about a data lake? It's just, is it like a DMS? Is it like a CRM?
So,
just
what I was going to say is a data lake is I would say it's how our DMSs should be. Like it really is the way a DMS should be. It's just a place that is extremely secure, and you can bring as much into it as you want, and you can direct as much out of it as you want. And that's what it is. It just, you can
cloud-based.
What's that?
It's cloud-based.
Cloud-based. Yeah.
It respects your store boundaries. So does it allow your individual stores to operate independent?
Yeah.
And then you can look at data collected, or you can look at it individually, right?
Any way you want to do it. Yeah. You can group it. You can literally, it's literally endless. So if you like, the power users inside of Snowflake, if you say, hey, I just want to look at just my Toyota stores, boom, like you could do that. If you just want to look at a Toyota store, or you want to look at your whole enterprise, if you have regions, you can set up any way you want. And it literally, if you have a power user, it takes minutes to do. And it's real time. I mean, it's real time as well. So it's constantly updating based on all the information that you're pushing into it.
Yeah. So you've got a pretty forward-thinking DMS. You use Tekion, right? That like they are newer than, CDK and Reynolds. Some would say, hey, those are older bones. Like if anybody supported a data lake, it would be Tekion. What's the objection of a DMS provider like Tekion to a data lake, or is it just gently outside their sphere of operation?
It's funny you asked that. It's funny you asked that question. So I was out actually at that Snowflake conference. Tekion is headquartered right outside San Francisco. So we went to their headquarters and met with their executive team. And I was like, come on, guys, we have to be able to figure this out. And they're like, we are. And I don't know if I should be saying this, but I'm going to say it anyways.
Only between us, Ryan. Only between us.
Yeah, right.
It's not going anywhere else. Only our few thousand listeners, 5,000-6,000.
So they're partnering with another data lake. I wish it was Snowflake because it'd be seamless. But they're partnering with Databricks, which is another. It's a competitor. It's I couldn't tell you what the difference is between them. They're both data lakes. So we will, at one time in the near future, be able to push that data back, but it still won't truly live in the DMS. It will live in the DMS Snowflake instance.
You don't want it to live in the DMS though, do you? Because who owns this data lake? Is it Rohrman or is it the DMS? Yeah. And so
I own my data lake. So my Snowflake is mine. So like no one owns any of our data besides ourselves. We own all the data. But even with what Techion's proposing to do, it would be part of your DMS, but not in your DMS. It's a separate instance that lives on top of or inside of the standard DMS file.
So we want to pull on this thread, but before we get into the what you've been able to do with this data lake data and then quantify the financial impact of it, go back to the number again from, hey, we realized we had a problem. We knew we needed to do something to, we've got a data lake. What was the dollar price tag on that between the Experian survey and then actually setting it up with Tilium and then migrating it from Tilium over to Snowflake data lake? If you're okay sharing.
Yeah, I'll share it. So Snowflake's extremely inexpensive. My first Snowflake bill was 17 cents. So I got it and I was like, what is this?
Seems reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what you got to realize inside of automotive, I mean, we're not the biggest auto group out there by any means, but they look at us and be like, your data, you fall into a XXX small data size.
Oh, really? Okay.
They're dealing with monsters, and that people have tens of millions of files, even in the billions. Like think of like Abercrombie, for instance, like worldwide company, every single user that's on their site or in their store, so on and so forth. Amex, American Express, huge, right? So we're small. Your bill through Snowflake is whenever something is queried or activated. So it can sit in there for no cost, but when you tell it to do something, it's that dictates a charge. And a lot of these tech companies, they don't put a dollar amount in the charge. You buy credits, and the credits are, like you'd buy, I'll make this up. Like $10,000 would buy hundreds of thousands of credits potentially, and that could last you a whole year potentially. And then they'll just pull off your credits as you query and activate. So Snowflake, I've told this to a lot of dealers. Even if you don't want to do a CDP, you should still do the first step in this process. Get your data out of your DMS. Clean it, enrich, enhance it, put it into Snowflake, and mark it from there. So like let's say you're still doing direct mail, fine, whatever. Like have them pull from your Snowflake instance so you're not paying for 52% bad email.
Right. Bad email
addresses.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's probably one of the harder things to do, right? And it's so redundant, and we see it all the time. I have the same exact thing. I have a Lexus that I haven't owned in 10 years at this point that I'm still getting, marketing mail for. And I always think back to one of my first GMs, preached garbage in, garbage out. So it's very interesting to see that you've spent so much time to, pull that thread, connect these dots, and clean this up.
And we only have a few minutes left, Ryan, and I love this because I'm learning so much, and hopefully our entire dealer audience is. But are there any other data sources that you're putting into your data lake aside from DMS, CRM?
So you have CRM, you have your DMS, and then you have GA4. So that's the other power of a CDP provider, a really good CDP. Like a lot of them. This point will be contested, but a lot of CDPs use a tag, and the tag will live on your site. But then you have to make sure that every single thing on your website that the tag works on. I talk about tech stacks all the time.
Yeah.
And so we found that out 30 days after I signed the CDP that our tech stack was not compatible for two reasons. The first reason was it's outdated and the tag won't work on it. The second reason is that the provider of the partner wants to charge me for my data. So that's very common in automotive right now, because a lot of
DMS.
DMS is a great example, right?
Yeah.
That's your data. Why would they ever charge you for you to get it? So I found 3 or 4 partners that they're like, sure, Ryan, we'll give it. Yeah, it's going to be like this much money and you can have your data. And I was like, yeah, no, that doesn't work for me. So we had to redo our entire tech stack, make sure that they're all talking with, we're big believers in ASC events through GA4, to make sure that that's all in sync. Because then the other big source that's pumping into Telium is all our GA4 data, because that's all active. We can activate almost every single ASC event that happens.
And what's GA4?
So GA4 is your Google Analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, it's your, if you have access to your Google Analytics, they call it GA4. Yeah.
Yep. And those are the
ASC events are Automotive Standard Council. It's a weird term, but it's, if anyone's ever pitched you on why you should use them as a partner, and they bring in your Google Analytics and they'll pick the most random column and be like, because we drive this number like crazy. So it's like, well, what's really important inside of Google Analytics? So ASC events it's specifically for automotive, and it said, these are the key 28. I think there's 28 events. There's 28 key ASC events that we want to track, we want to drive, and they're all waterfall events. So you can do sub ASC events off of those main 28. And as you build that out, you can activate it all. So
Ryan, this is an absolute masterclass in setting this up. I got to tell you something. We've had so many different people on from different companies. Like, everybody wants to sell you something, but your insight is super valuable to the process, the cost, and then I want to get into, before we have to let you go, the producers are like, hey, we're time, but I need a few more minutes. So settle down in there. Give me the quantified impact on the other side. So obviously your goal is to take this data, it's to make your advertising more efficient, effective, your communications with customers. What's the ROI or the impact that you've seen since you've implemented this?
So it's pretty substantial. So it's hard for me to say, hey, we're up this, but I can tell you, we track net to sales as a big indicator. So we're up over 1% this year, net to sales.
Wow.
I wouldn't put it all towards this, but a lot of it, expense control is huge inside of automotive. And we're seeing compressions. You guys have talked about that. We're seeing compressions in gross profitability. So expense savings while selling more cars, it's kind of like the magic, right? And so that's what this is letting us do. So we have a really cool test going. It's on my LinkedIn, and it's following one of my stores in the service pickup from abandoned shopping cart customers. So abandoned shopping cart is an audience type. And these are people that started to make an appointment for service, and for some reason they stopped. And there's a million reasons, right? Your boss walks in and you turn your phone off. You're in the car driving and you turn your phone off because you need to drive forward. Someone calls you. How often do you go back and finish? Not very often. That's why we always have all these like windows open, right?
Yeah.
By the way, I'm that customer. I do that on purpose because of how aggressively they retarget you, usually with a discount code.
So we did this with, I can never remember the brand. It's a shoe brand. We did it, and they had a great abandoned shopping cart. We got up to 35% off after just messing with it. So it was like, you just had to interact with it. And then it was like, here's 10% to finish. Here's 15. So that's what we're doing that now. Not 35% off, but in our own automotive way. But we've seen a 28% increase in service pickup in this one store.
Wow.
because of abandoned shopping cart CDP activation. So like,
and I would imagine also like your marketing, if you're doing a campaign, you're probably seeing much higher, click-through rates, open rates, things like that. I mean, you're now marketing to the right list.
Yeah, this will be controversial, but my goal is to get off third-party lead providers. I've been very vocal about that for years. So I'm down to 2 now, and I'm driving more leads than I did when I had 4 of them, because a lead from your website is a better, cleaner lead. And
oh yeah,
I preach on that. Your close rates, like my average close rate for the year so far, when I blend phones, walk-ins, and internet HTML formatted leads, we're at 30% right now. No smoke on that number.
Wow.
It's
yeah.
So who are the 2 lead providers that you've hung on to?
We have Trader and Cars right now.
Okay. And what made you decide to hang on to them through the elimination of everybody else?
Well, I mean, a lot of it is just how they perform.
Yeah.
And I'm in talks with both of them to get their data. Because like really what I went to both of them on is that I don't want leads. It's like I really don't want your lead. Give me your data. And so they both have differing opinions on what that could look like. And we're early in conversations about how we can digest their data. Because now that I have a Snowflake instance, that's where it would go. It would go right into my instance, and then it's an audience type, right? It'd be an audience type, and I can activate on it. So they're not geared for that though. I mean, I'm not going to drop their names, but they're like, we've built these lead generators and you just want data. I'm just like, yeah, I don't want your lead. I want the data. And they're like, I've spent hundreds of millions of dollars. I'm not, they start like stuttering because it's like, I can't do that. I'm just like, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's where we're going. So it's the first one that there is going to be the winner inside of this thing. So we just got to figure it out.
Ryan, I got to tell you, what a fascinating conversation to hear your evolution through this entire process. And I think you've given so many dealers listening and watching today kind of the steps and the stages and the benefits of doing it. I'll be fascinated. My last question was going to be, what do you see kind of that next step in your evolution? It seems like part of that is eliminating all third-party lead providers. You want to do your own website. Is there anything else you're thinking about in terms of innovation as you go beyond this data lake and what you're doing on the lead provider side?
It's all about data. I mean, that's, like Facebook has proved that, Google has proved that, over and over again. And so now we're moving on now to how can I get more data, and companies sell data, and it's not expensive. Data is not expensive because you don't need to own it. I want to own what I have. You can lease it. And as soon as they activate on your website, it's yours. So that's the magic. So you lease these monster data files. You mark your Marcom is, you guys remember this, when you are marketing with a CDP and you get micro audience types, you're giving the customer the right message at the right time. It's not this vanilla old school car message. It's very personalized to them inside their shopping, inside what they're shopping for right now, now. And so if they activate, meaning they click, it's mine. That becomes my customer. So
and to a customer that feels good, I think, to be served like that personally. It shows you care. It's intentional. It's not a shotgun blast.
No,
it's a direct line of communication to that. It's a direct line of communication to that individual customer.
It's helpful. We talk about CX all the time. It's huge. That's what we have to care about, the experience. And if I'm giving the right message at the right time, the customer's response is like, oh, perfect. I wanted to finish this. I do need to get my oil change, or yes, I was looking for this,
So you have so many different OEMs, you have so many different brands, and the producers are going to kill me because we're way long, but this is such a fascinating conversation. I refuse to end it just yet. So everybody in the room, you just calm down here. So you've got Honda, Toyota, Nissan, Subaru, Hyundai, Kia, Ford, Chevy, Buick, GMC, Volkswagen, all Acura, Lexus. You've got a lot of OEMs. Data is a hot point with OEMs.
Oh,
as
big
you're
time.
seeking to purify and own more of it and engage better with it, what are the friction points with the OEMs, and
That's
who's
a great
providing the
question.
toughest problem? Yeah.
The toughest problem there, honestly, is OEM overreach in terms of like products that you have. I'm trying to get my fingers
Yeah.
have to have.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So like I can prove that my market strategy for SEM is better than Toyota's, but I have to
Ooh.
use Toyota's pay-per-click program because if I
Yeah.
don't, I'm just competing against myself,
Yeah.
which is
Mm.
dumb. So like my Toyota stores, they don't get the same return on their spend because it's an inferior process because
Mm.
they can't use all the data warehouse and silos that I have to negotiate with Google to get the better placement at the right time to the right person, and that's really frustrating. So that's like so right now, like Toyota, that was a big one, and that's not new. They've had that. The nice thing with Hyundai, because they just changed theirs, but I got my ad company approved as a provider, so we're still able. I was concerned that our Hyundai stores would have the same thing, but at least Hyundai was open enough to say, "Hey, if you can show uh, that you're effective in doing it and you're spending X dollars, you can be a preferred vendor." So we crossed that, but I would say that's the biggest one. Is just barrier to outdated tech, you know, stuff that I have to put on my website that really doesn't work. But
Yeah.
man, is that enriching the OEM? I mean, they make
Yeah.
so much money off those programs. So that's the hard part for sure.
So your call to the
Yeah.
OEM would be get in line with this because it's coming, it seems, right? Like this is the next logical
Yeah.
step in dealer. To your point, the auto industry is so far behind. It's the next
Mhm.
logical step. And we fought over data OEM dealer franchise model for so long.
We
Like
did. Yeah.
this seems to make sense, right?
I mean, my message to them would be, if you have really innovative dealers, like do what you're good at. Like they make and manufacture phenomenal cars. Okay. Like that's enough. Like give us more cars or make more better innovative cars. They don't need to be involved with our marketing to the point of you don't even have options, right? Like
Yeah. Yeah.
monopolies are terrible. We know
Yeah.
this. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
capitalism is great when it works, and it's you need competition, and so when you have OEMs that have it's these three website providers, it's like, all right, there's
Yeah.
better ones out there,
Yeah.
but you have to choose one. So
Yeah, they're
good
too
luck.
far removed.
Yeah.
It's the dance. Well, Ryan Rohrman, CEO, Rohrman Auto Group, we appreciate you being in here. You're just up the road from us, and
Yeah.
it's fun to have this conversation. And again, an absolute masterclass on all things CDP data,
Yeah.
data lakes. You've cleared up things that for a lot of us are just beginning to crystallize. So thanks for being on
Awesome.
the show today, Ryan.
Hey, it was fun. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it, guys.